Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you getting into my budget closeout for the month of August. So I am shortening the month of August. Normally I would do my closeout here around the 28th or 29th, but I have appointments going on all day the 28th and the 29th with my family, and I won't have time to film, edit, upload, and do all the things. So I decided to film it here on Monday the 26th. So that is what I'm doing here today. We're just going to close everything out. The way I close out my budget is because my budgets roll one into the other, where I have a monthly budget, then I separate it out into paycheck periods, and then I do my weekly check-ins. All I have to do is do the last weekly check-in of August, and that is week 4, the weekly check-in, and then close out paycheck 2, and whatever this number that is left over in my bank or in my transactions here is also the number I have sitting in my checking account. It matches my banking account. Everything you see here represents the money going in and the money coming out of my checking account. So we're going to go ahead and do the weekly check-in, and then we're going to move on to paycheck 2 and close out for the month. My thought process is I'm going to get a number of how much cash available I have in the checking account after doing the transactions I did on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then we're going to see what's left, and that's going to carry me through the rest of this week. I already know what the number is, but it's not a lot, but it's enough. I think we can make it through. And then anything transaction-wise that happens with doctor's appointments, like co-pays or anything, especially here on Wednesday, that's an eye doctor appointment for me and both of my sons all at the same time, which is kind of crazy. We're probably going to get new glasses and everything. For right now, everything's going to go on the credit card. My credit card is at 0, so I don't owe anything, but I'm going to figure out what I need to do to kind of how I'm going to pay for that going into the next few months. And it may take me a little time depending on what we get. I have insurance, and my youngest son has insurance. My oldest son has, he's SSI and he has Medicaid, that's his health care, but he does not have additional insurance. And because of that, the availability of what he can get with his glasses is very minimal. I usually pay out of pocket for the rest. So yeah, I hate to do that, but you know, it's a thing that we chose to do, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our transactions. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. This is how I wrap up my month, and I will be doing my next video, which is my September setup video, where I set up the monthly budget. Go ahead and check that out. There's a lot going on there that I really enjoy doing, and I can't wait to do that. I've already written everything down here, and we're just going to come up with a number and keep going from there. So let's get started. First thing I always look at is the first color-coded sticker I have here, grocery household. That's what GH stands for. And I did do some more shopping. Don't know why I keep going to the grocery store and buying stuff. I think it's just this time of year and I see really good sales because it's back to school and all the things. And fall's transitioning, and my grocery store right now is remodeling, so they're putting a lot of things on sale. So I've been stocking up pretty good, so it's a lot, but maybe not as necessary as I thought it would be, or thought I really needed. So I don't know. I'm going to have to reevaluate specifically what I've purchased this past month, line by line, and make a decision going into next month. And I'm struggling to come up with meal ideas and things like that, so I'm just kind of reaching for anything to kind of help us along, and that's been the struggle because we've been eating out a lot as well, and you'll see that in a minute. So here we go. The grocery household, $43.65, and that was here on Saturday. I have the wrong pen. I usually use this one. This one's a .07 and that's a .05, and I like to write with a .07 more than I do the .05. I think it comes across the screen better when I'm writing, and it's just something I've always written with. So yeah, I just realized I was writing with the wrong size. So there you go. Then I had here, if you saw my previous videos, I may have mentioned Amazon, or my last video, Amazon subscribe and save. This month I only had 4. Normally I have more than 4, but some of the subscriptions I get last a couple months, so I skip a month with some of them. And so this time I only have 4, so I went ahead and wrote out all 4 transactions. And these are all different supplements for me and my family, not just for me, but my sons have different ones than I do, and my husband has one that's different than mine. So, you know, I just kind of put them all together. And this is $23.11 for this supplement, $12.68, and then $23.82 and $7.35. I put it under supplements under grocery household because if I was at the grocery store, I would be buying them at the grocery store, and that would make sense to me to keep it under that category. And I always budget enough for that category to cover. So there's that. All that's taken care of. So let's go ahead and total these numbers up. This part should be really quick. So 143.65 plus 23.11 plus 12.68 and 23.82, 7.35. Okay. So $210.61. So that's what we spent in grocery household. Next we have restaurants, and that was only 1. We did really good. I was so proud of us this weekend because I had a relative come into town to visit my mom and dad, and they went out to dinner, and I told my mom ahead of time, I said, we're not going out to dinner. We're not going out for the rest of the weekend. So we ordered our Friday night pizza night, which is typical. And then we did not go out the rest of the weekend because we have a lot coming up. Not only do I have doctor's appointments coming up, like I mentioned before, and this weekend, going into Labor Day weekend, there's a family reunion, there's a little bit of travel, not very far, and expenses that go along with it. So we'll be spending quite a bit in this time period. I'm still negotiating and figuring out how to cover the cost of that, and we'll just have to wait and see as the month goes along in September to figure out how I'm going to cover the cost of the Labor Day weekend last minute trip that we just decided to do. And I haven't been to one of my family reunions since I got married. Been married 28 years, so it's probably been 27 years ago the last time we went to one. So yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah. Anyway, so we got the eating out. I didn't have to add anything to that. I was very glad that we didn't do any extra eating out. And then miscellaneous, I had 2 items. I have a phone case. It's driving me crazy where it bulges out here and here, and it comes off all the time. And this is an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I got this case when I got the phone, so I've had it for quite a while. It's a gold phone. I don't know why I got gold, but I liked it. And then I got this from Erin Condren, and so I ordered a new phone case as well as a pop socket, and that was $23.20 because it's still a really good phone. I have no reason to, it's paid off. I have no reason to actually get a new one because it's doing everything I want it to do. I might have to like get a new battery or something for it, but I'm going to make it last as long as possible. $23.20 from Amazon there. And then my son and my husband went fishing, and they went to a place called Cane Pole to pick up some live bait and stuff like that. So he has that. And that is what we spent there, which is not a lot, but I'm so glad they got to go fishing. $23.20 plus 4 is $27.20. Now all of the bills are paid. A lot of times I'll put bills on here too that go to the credit card because all of our spending goes on the credit card and we pay it off once a week. But all the bills have already been paid with the last weekly check-in, and I don't have any other bills. Not all of these go on the credit card. The ones highlighted in blue that you see here went on the credit card. So there was no bills to put on here, and everything's already paid. So whatever cash is sitting there is the cash that I have available for spending, which is why I'm comfortable closing it out here early and then adjusting things as I go into the next month, and then looking at savings to see what I have. I still have cash left over. I can use it for the next 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is that I have. And I probably will. That's why I didn't put no spend here, because I think I'm going to run to the grocery store later today to pick up some lunch meat for the rest of the week for my husband's lunches. I've already got everything else. I just forgot his lunch meat. But I have time to get that, and that'll be fine. And I will adjust the number for the balance forward into September, what's left over in checking account before the deposit's hit. I'll adjust whatever that number is when I do the new monthly budget. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this total put together. It's $210.61 plus the $50.93 plus $27.20, and we have $288.74. That is what I have to pay back the credit card, and I haven't done it yet, but we'll be good to go. That is definitely less what I have available in my checking account. What I have in my actual checking account right now is I have listed over here what it was. It's a little higher. It's $21.19 higher, whatever there was an Amazon purchase I was going to make, and then I canceled the purchase and the numbers weren't tracking right, but it was the difference of that one transaction. So I've made all the adjustments, and what I had left in the checking account is $386.88. That was cash available, and I've spent $288.74. So my right now available funds for cash is $98.14. So let's see if my numbers run right when I close out my paycheck too. But before I do that, I want to close out the weekly check-in, and I do that by finishing week 4. Here we go. So $210. Now I did lower this quite a bit to compensate for the $290.18. I probably should just left this the way it was, but I was trying to figure out how to pay to cover that payment I made and still have money left over for the last week. And so I didn't want to go over $230 for the week 4 of the weekly check-in. And I am at $210.61. So I did good there. I'm still positive there. I have $50.93 where I'm negative. And then miscellaneous, I had $27.20. And then gas, there were no extra purchases for gas. No more copay. Ugh, I can't write. So 0 for copay and 0 for unbudgeted this week. So if you take the difference of this $520 minus the $530, and I'll just show you that difference, and it should be this $290. Yes, that's at $290.18. So that was just me making a reminder of myself that this is what I wanted for this week. And that's why I did it that way. So $230.46 minus $210.61, $19.85. Then we have $14.96 minus $50.93. All right, so that was, we were $35 over in our spending, and I even added like $128 to restaurants to cover all the eating out, because in the first part of the month, my father-in-law was here, and we always pay for his meals when we go out to eat, and we usually go out to eat for dinner in the evenings. So we just let it roll and then figure out how to pay for it later, which is a little scary. And that's how you get in trouble with your credit card when you don't actually have the cash to pay for it. So I don't recommend doing that at all. Do not follow that example. All right, $27.20. We had $22 left over in miscellaneous. That was good. Gasoline, $53.87. Oh, I don't need to I don't need to do math there. All right, $53.87 and then $51.96. So even if I had left that $500 here, I did really good in grocery household because I gave myself $1,600. So the total I spent for the entire month of groceries was $1,289. $9.97. I thought I spent more on groceries, but obviously I didn't, because I saved money I used money to force myself not to spend, and paid for the Lego sets that we bought for our anniversary. And so technically it would have been $310 left over, but now it's $19.85. But yeah, I only spent $12.89 for groceries. So nothing in unbudgeted. I've been very careful just sticking around home and not doing all the things. So we actually balanced forward the $886.14, and we have $1,348.03 for the salary. That didn't change. Well, I don't want to put minus signs. I want to put check marks. And no other money actually came in, so that number didn't change, but we'll double check it anyway. All right, so it was definitely $2,234.17 of actual money that was deposited in the month, or in this paycheck period, for Paycheck 2. And Paycheck 2 is the 15th to the end of the month. So we get 2 salary checks, and that's how our monthly budget runs. Paycheck 1 is always the 1st through the 14th, and Paycheck 2 is always the 15th through the end of the month. Okay, so now we have all the expenses. I'm going to close Paycheck 1 side here. All the expenses for the bills that came through that were paid. So I'm going to go ahead and total this up. It should match this number, but I'm just going to double check and make sure my math is correct. And then we'll move on to what expenses actually happened. So here we go. All right, same as last time, $858.89. So my math was correct last time. It's correct this time. It's always good to double check. That way, when you look at your bank account, if there's a number off, then you know it wasn't this, it's something else. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the expenses over here that are variable, that happen, when you decide to make the purchase. So we have here, I have a list somewhere. Okay, so I have everything written down, and I'm ready to go ahead and put my actuals down for my expenses. Now I get these numbers because I know Paycheck 2 is week 3 and week 4 of the weekly check-in. The way I go back off camera is I just take what I spent in grocery household, which was $325.68, plus what I spent this week in grocery household, $210.61. And that gives me the $536.29 for what we spent for that paycheck period. And that works best for me for that paycheck period, because that's what works best for me. So it's $536.29. And so I'm going to go ahead and write what was actual for this paycheck period in the actual column here. And then we'll do a total and see how much is left over for the rest of this week and for the end of the month of August. Okay, now that I have all my actuals down, I am going to go ahead and total this column up, and then we'll do the math as far as how much is left over and be done with the closeout with the month of August. So I will be right back. All right, so we spent $1,277.14 in our variable spending here. I don't label things like that, fixed and variable, but I lay it out that way. But I don't mind putting a bill over here if that's what I need to do, because I can give myself enough lines. So now let's take the total of actuals, $2,234.17, minus the $858.89, and minus the $1,277.14. I'm glad to see that number under. And we come up with, yes, $98.14. So I'm not going to write balance forward or spend, because I don't know what I'm going to do with this $98 until Friday. Today's only Monday. I'm probably not going to spend a whole lot, other than a couple things that I know that I need to get for lunches for my husband. But This is what's left over as of today, cash in my checking account after we pay the credit card for the $288.74 of what we already spent. Now we do know we're in good shape because $98.14 is exactly what I came up with over here once I looked at how much was in the actual checking account, which I made a note over here. This is what's actually sitting in my checking account right now. So I might wait to pay the credit card and just add transactions here or subtract them from here, just because I just like to keep the numbers real, and I might change these numbers so I have it as an archive. I keep these as an archival, how our budget did in the month of kind of thing. And I can always reflect back to it and look at, especially if you don't have a device or other tracking in spreadsheets or apps or anything like this. This is a great way to archive it and you can go back. So that is what I have here. That is my budget closeout. We ended up with $98 left over for the rest of the week. And if I change that, I will show you that at the beginning of September's video. And yeah, that's all I have for this month. So let me know down in the comments on how your month went. I'm just happy that we didn't spend a lot in groceries. I was able to cover some unbudgeted and still had $98 left over for the last 4 days of the month. And I'm curious to see how you guys did. Did you get to stay within budget? Things like that. Just let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
As a young girl, it feels we're mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care.